Welcome to Chat with the Lawyer. I'm your host, Walla Blagay, and today we have a celebrity in the house, Mr. Manuel Geraldo, who is on the Prince George's County Planning Board, which is part of the Maryland National Park and Planning Commission. And today he's going to talk with us about some of the things that the county is planning in economic development and development throughout the county for the next 15 to 30 years. Not to mention, he's also has his own practice where he's going to talk about workers' compensation and also family law. So we are excited. We have a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Walla, for the invitation. I also want to thank you for this great service that you provide for the residents of the county. Because many times I'm on the TV, I'm watching TV, and I see Charles County has stuff and other counties. And so this program is a great one for the county.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to have you here. So let's talk about some of the planning, what you as a commissioner foresee in the future in the county. Now, you know, we know the county has issues. Economic development is key on every resident's mind. So enlighten us.
We have great vision for the future with the county. I'm very excited. I've been on the board for 2.5 years now, and it's really exciting to see what we've got for the future in two areas. One is the Parks and Rec. We have the Plan 2040, which is a vision for the future for our community centers, our arts, and our history. I don't know if you know this, and probably a lot of residents don't know this, but Prince George's County has won 5 national awards just for its parks, recs, and history programs. And this year, we won an award for Best Award.
Wow.
So, and we have a great park staff. And as a commissioner, what we do is oversee that as well. They come to us with plans, and then we put them forward. Now, the Parks and Rec obviously also works in conjunction with our planning department. Mm-hmm. And the planning department, again, is also, people wouldn't believe in terms of how talented we have in the staff. Right. And they come up with proposals. The most recent one that was approved in the fall of 2014 was Plan 2035 that you and I talked about.
All right.
And that has changed. It's supposed to be a takeoff on Plan 202, but in reality, it's much more focused on using the assets of the county. And those assets are our metro stations, which heretofore have not been developed like they have in other areas. And so the focus of the county executive, of the planning board, and the county council is to focus on those targeted areas. One of which, for example, is Largo. Another one is New Carrollton. Mm-hmm. And what they're suggesting is in those areas to bring in private investment to develop them even further. As a matter of fact, one of the things that they're thinking of, and we've talked about it, and is in Plan 2035, is to move the county seat from Upper Marlboro to Largo.
Oh, wow.
And so, I mean, that's just discussions now, but when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Because we have, for people that need to get out to Upper Marlboro, it's difficult.
Right. It is very...
if you don't drive, obviously you have the bus, but still it could take 2 to 3 hours depending upon where you live in the county.
Right.
With the Metro Center right at Largo, it would make a lot of sense.
Right. And don't you already have county buildings already throughout
plenty.
Largo?
There's plenty of county buildings. Plus, that's where, that's in the same area where the hospital's going to go.
Right.
So,
and what's the update on the hospital? Are we getting that?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
There was some question because of the change in administration, but I think it makes a lot of sense for the county. It makes a lot of sense for the state as well to have a new medical center in the county.
Okay.
So, and then some of the other areas that they're looking at, we're moving away from new growth areas that are not within, that are out in the rural tier.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And see, what we did was with the Plan 2035 was to recategorize land uses to make more sense and to follow what the state general plan is. And so we're looking for the infill development So there's plans, you know, the purple line, hopefully, you know, Governor Hogan will see the value of that from a businessman's perspective.
Right.
You know, a business person knows that light rail can develop that entire area.
Right.
Not that area, you've got College Park. Now, College Park is considered under the new plan, is considered like a special unit for employment, and because the employment is already there.
Right.
Then you have the focus on Greenbelt now. And
What is the update with Greenbelt?
there's no update in the sense of, you know, GSA is keeping the cards real close to the vest.
Right.
But from a planning perspective and from a regional perspective, I don't think you want any place other than Greenbelt if you're the federal government.
Right.
You're right on 495.
Right.
You're on 95.
Right.
You've got a metro station.
Right.
You have the federal court right in Greenbelt.
Right, you do have that.
So it makes sense.
Right.
And so I'm hoping that, you know, GSA looks at that and says, you know what, in the long run, this makes the most sense.
Now, there is, in the stories about the Greenbelt, the FBI coming to Prince George's County, the county is offering a lot of incentives. Can you explain what those incentives are?
Those incentives, I'm not totally familiar with that, except one incentive I know that's being recommended is to kind of fast track the permitting process.
I got you, okay.
But, you know, other incentives that they can give are, you know, would be tax.
Right.
And then when the FBI comes in, it comes in on a different process. They call that mandatory referral. So it has to come through the planning board.
Okay, okay.
Like, for example, the same thing is if, you know, if Bowie State is going to do something,
Right.
and which they are, there's more development going in Bowie State. If University of Maryland is going to do some new development, all of that comes to the planning board through the mandatory referral.
Interesting.
But the Office of Economic Development for the county is very active in recruiting and keeping new businesses. There was, you know, recently a very large caterer that's well known in the area and was located for the longest time in Oxon Hill, and they were looking for land or more space to accommodate their growth. Right. And initially they looked at Alexandria.
Right.
And you know, I spoke to the owner, and I know, and I said, you know, you really need to look at Prince George's County. Right. And I said, and if you find some place in Prince George's County, look at the economic development. And you know, the county executive's office was contacted, and she located her business, which is called Susan Gage Catering, in Landover now. And that was one of the things for 2035 that we looked at, is in developing, because what happens is the plan is actually put together by the professions. And we have a great staff. You know, the planning staff, they went to school, they're urban planners, and they put it together. Right. Then they bring it to the board. The board sits, we talk about it. It's okay, you know, this, what do you mean by that? And then one of the areas we thought, you know what, we have, besides our metro stations, one thing that we have that Arlington is losing, Alexandria is losing, and DC has practically none, is our industrial areas. And that's
what industrial areas?
You look over in Cheverly, there's industrial areas in Landover, and all of these businesses that surround the county you need industrial areas. Wow. So that's what we decided was to say, okay, let's promote our industrial areas as well.
Right, right. Oh, right.
And so that was one of the reasons why you know, that we put that in the plan specifically. Right. To focus on that. Because you know you're going to need your warehouses, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with those businesses. Right. And they increase the tax base.
Right, they do.
And so that was a big area, because DC is losing. They're not interested in it. Yeah. They're not in, and
they don't have the space.
They don't have the space.
Yeah.
You know, everything is going with the housing. So.
Right.
And so what the Plan 35 wants to do as well is also increase the density of housing around the metro station.
That's good, Okay.
You have to increase density. You know, that's valuable land, and the idea is to make our communities walkable.
Right.
You know, we don't,
Right.
you know, this idea of driving long distances now, I know the price of gas is low right now, but that's
But
only a temporary
right,
condition.
right.
We know that, you know, and not only that, and, you know, for health reasons as well.
Right.
And so we're within the half-mile radius of each metro station is the planned development.
Right.
And you're going to increase the density, and then as you get further away from the transit,
Right.
then you begin to open up a little more. But so those are the things we're working on.
And so you mentioned New Carrollton and Largo. Are there any other metro stations that you're focused on?
Well, Morgan,
Okay.
Morgan Boulevard,
Okay.
and then you have other areas that we're calling central business districts that we're going to promote as well. So you've got Hyattsville is another one. But one of the priorities right now that was recommended is New Carrollton because you got the MARC there, you've got the Metro there. The only small downside on it is that because of the Amtrak cuts right through it, so that it's going to require additional infrastructure funding to make it even more walkable.
Interesting, interesting. Now let's go into some of the big projects going on right now. Now you said 2030, 2035. So what is some of the things that you all are focusing on right now?
Well, we're looking at the Greenbelt one.
Okay. Okay.
And there's a plan for that whole area.
Is that just, are you relying on FBI headquarters to get there before you start?
No, it's already working on it, and there's already plans. We've made sector plans for Greenbelt and the like. That's starting, and what they're doing is changing. One of the things that they're doing as well is, you know, when you get into the zoning, and when I got into the zoning, I didn't understand it, I'll be honest with you. But it all comes back to this, what they call Euclidean zoning.
Right.
And then from there, there's all different subparts.
Right.
You know, because what happened is the zoning, the strict Euclidean zoning is not always flexible enough.
Right. Right.
So that's what they're trying to do, and also what they're doing. They're going into form-based zoning.
Okay.
What the form-based zoning is what happens is you take the area. This is the form that we want, and so more of the work can be done by the staff.
Right.
And then they say, okay, if it fits this, it's good.
Interesting. Okay, so we're going to take a short break,
Okay.
and then I'm going to come back, and we're going to get back into some further plans that you have and get into a little bit about your practice, okay?
Okay, great.
All right, so stay with us.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Did you know that 1 in 5 kids comes from a home where food isn't always available? 1 in 5. That means it's likely that one of your kids' friends starts the day without breakfast. And when you're hungry, it's hard to focus and get through the day, and that's no way to set up our kids for success. Breakfast is essential in giving our kids the start that they need to unlock their potential. So imagine all that they could accomplish if each had a great start. That's why I'm joining up with Kellogg's Share a Breakfast program and their in-school breakfast partner, Action for Healthy Kids, to reach their goal of getting more than 1 million breakfasts over the course of a school year to kids that would otherwise go without. Here's how you can help. Share this video with a friend. Each time that happens, we'll donate a breakfast towards our goal. And visit sharebreakfast.com today to see all the other ways you and your friends can get kids the start they deserve.
Welcome back to Chat with the Lawyer, and I'm here with Mr. Manuel Geraldo, who's going to talk. We're going to talk about some of the plans for the Prince George's Planning Board. So let's get back into it. Now, what are some of the other initiatives that the board is looking at?
Okay, one initiative is what I was explaining earlier about the 2035. Okay, and in 2035, one of the recommendations was to redo the zoning code for the county. And the reason is because the zoning code, as presently written, is extremely burdensome. Just to understand it, because there's footnotes as to what you can do, what you can do, when you can do it, and which is not good for the developers. It's not good for the community.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And it's just not good for quick processing.
Okay.
And so the initiative now that we're working on is the zoning code rewrite. And with the zoning code rewrite, there's consultants. We have our staff, and then there's consultants from around the country that are helping us, and it's to develop the best practices. So we could get a zoning code which is readable, comprehensive, and that a citizen can look at and understand. That's one big initiative. That's our next big initiative. Now, on the 2040 that you asked about previously, there's been a change.
Now, can you explain 2040 so
Okay,
people
so
understand?
2040 is a plan that was put together by the Parks and Recs Department.
Okay.
Okay? And you know the county has numerous parks, numerous facilities.
Right.
Okay. And the focus now with Plan 2040 is what do we look at in terms of our facilities for the future? Where are we going to locate them? What types of facilities are we going to build? And again, just like in the planning department, experts in the Park and Recs department, they do their homework, they study it, we do surveys. When we did Plan 2040, just like Plan 2035, there were public hearings, citizens hearings. Tell us what you want.
And how do people find out about these public hearings?
That it's publicized online. It's publicized in the newspaper. There's anything that the planning board does in terms of budget, in terms of plans, in terms of approving subdivisions or development is all open to the public.
Right.
Okay. Now, if individuals belong to a civic association and what they need and they're interested in the development that's coming close to them, the first thing they need to do is to find out if their civic association is on the mailing list for the planning board. And what happens is if they are within a certain distance of the plan, that civic association will automatically get notice.
Got you. That makes good sense. Okay.
And all of our meetings are online. So if every Thursday we have a meeting, you go to the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Board, they can tap in live.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And they can ask questions from their computer.
No, not from there. To ask questions,
You have to
come
be-
in
you
and
have to
sign
be
in.
in. Okay.
And we have a great chair, Betty Hewlett. She gives the citizens as much time as they need.
Nice. Okay. That's
We
good.
give the citizens, I have to really give that to her in terms of she really values, and we all do, but we really value the opinion of the residents to
Right.
projects.
Right.
You know,
Right.
we can't do anything that's not lawful,
Right,
okay?
right.
But we take that into account when we make our decisions. But now that Plan 2040, this is before the Parks and Rec. The idea was to build these smaller community centers, and that's why you see them throughout the whole county.
Right.
But what we've found is that people are just driving
Right.
to the centers. And so now we're going into, rather than the smaller community centers, which are, you know, it costs a lot of money to operate, it costs a lot of money to maintain, because you want to maintain it in good condition.
Right.
We're going into large regional centers. So we have the most recent one is the one on Bach Road, Tech Center. Have you ever been there?
No.
Oh, it's really nice. It's a beautiful facility. And
Oh, the Fort Washington one. Yes. Okay. I remember.
right on Bach Road. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful facility. And they have exercise, they have computer labs, It's great. And so that's the idea what we're going to do in other areas of the county. So there's one also planned in Brandywine.
Okay, okay.
But of course, as you know, all of it deals with the capital improvement budget.
Right.
And unfortunately, the tax situation in the county in terms of revenue has not been great for the past couple of years with the foreclosures and just down real estate market.
Okay. And is there, what about the fact that there's going to be, that Prince George's County is losing a lot of money from the recent budget of the governor? Now with that, is that going to affect projects?
Well, it's going to affect probably some county stuff, but park and planning has its own taxing authority. So if you look at, and the park and planning is not part of TRIM.
Oh, it's not? Oh, okay. Explain TRIM, so because everyone...
So TRIM is instituted probably at least 16 years ago, I guess. And what it did was it limited the county's ability to raise the real estate tax, the rate.
Right.
So the only way that a person's individual taxes on their real property goes up is because the appraisal or the assessment has gone up. You know, unlike Montgomery County or Fairfax County, they can actually raise the rate so much per thousand or per hundred.
Right.
They can't do that in Prince George's County, which is really unfortunate because it really limits what the county can do. I mean, nobody wants taxes raised.
Right.
I don't want it, you don't want it, no one.
You can be as liberal as it comes and still wouldn't want it.
Nobody wants it, but the problem is that, just like you see at home and I see at home, every year, we need more income because expenses have gone up, and the government faces the same thing.
Right.
And in our county,
Right.
citizens are really lucky in terms of just in the area of parks and rec, in terms of the facilities that we have.
Right.
Okay. And so, but getting back to the trim, that doesn't affect. So, if you look on your real estate tax bill, there's a separate part there where it says taxed by Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission.
Oh, so that's how you get your money.
But we haven't had an increase since, let's see, 2002. It's been years since there's been an increase.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, is the plan that only goes to the staff, that the money, the taxing of the Maryland National Park Capital Park and Plan, that only goes to the staff, and does it go to actual planning projects? Is that where you get the money for the planning projects?
No, it goes. That money goes for the whole planning department.
Okay,
only the planning department.
Okay.
And then development projects are also assessed fees.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if the county wants to bring development around a metro station, let's just go through the actual process. So
Okay.
If you had once, we'll pick one. We'll say Largo. Largo, you want to build something around there. So the county doesn't actually put their own money into it. They just get other private investors to come in.
What they do is, all that land is owned, so a developer comes in and he or she says, okay, we want to put up a high-rise here. Okay, they submit an application to the planning board, and the planning board staff goes through all the zoning code, goes through all the land use laws to make sure that it meets it. And then if there's certain areas that don't work, then they tell the developer, you need to change this, you need to change that. Finally, it comes up to a point where the planning staff either approves it, disapproves it, or approves it with a recommendation. Okay. Now, where the county may come in later on is infrastructure might be needed. It might be roads, and stuff like that. And so that's where, but with Plan 2035, what the recommendation has been is that put that in the priority investment districts, that money. Okay, and another incentive for the developers to develop in the metro areas is to make it simpler for them to develop. Because time is money.
Right.
And if you put in for a project and it's taking you 2 years to develop, That doesn't help. That doesn't help anybody, really. So the idea is to, and that's one of the ideas, but they want to change the zoning code to make it more flexible or make it easier to read, and also to speed up the process so you can develop the process quickly.
Right. Interesting. Now, when it comes to projects that are going on now, like let's just use the example, National Harbor MGM, where does the Planning Commission come in?
Well, initially they came in with the development.
Okay.
Okay, they come in, and it comes to the planning board. It's reviewed entirely by our staff.
Okay.
Staff of professionals.
Okay.
It comes to us, to the planning board itself.
Okay.
And normally, I'll be honest, the staff reports that they give us could be 20, 30, 40, 50 pages that we read, and then after reading it, you make notes, and then you raise questions during the public hearing.
Okay.
So it came to us with the MGM, which, by the way, is going to be beautiful.
Beautiful, right?
It's beautiful.
And you've seen all the
Yeah,
layouts.
I've seen it. I mean, the residents can see it as well online now. They go to
Okay.
MGM.
Okay.
It's really it almost looks like a glass ship, the way they designed it. So it fits in with the National Harbor.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
really nice.
The only real hot button issue was they're going to have these big video displays.
Okay.
So some of the residents were
Too much
concerned
light.
about too much light. and I understood their concerns, but they were worried about the watershed view
Okay.
from Mount Vernon that they were going to see.
So they were going to have like a big, like the building was going to be light up with like.
What it has, they have these big video monitors
Gotcha.
on I believe it's two sides.
Okay.
But the board considered it and didn't think that it was, didn't think it was objectionable for what they were doing.
Well, this has been a great interview. I must say we're going to have to wrap it up. So it went so fast.
It did
We're going to
go
have to
fast.
have you come back on and talk about your personal practice.
I'd love to.
Yes. Now, if somebody wants to contact you, let them know how they should contact you.
Okay. Our office is in the district, but we practice in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. And the phone number is 202-544-2888.
All right. Well,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so much for coming on. Like I said, we're going to have you come back, but this has been very informative. So if you want to get in touch with us or learn more about the show, you can email us at chatwiththelawyer@gmail.com or check the website at www.wallablegay.com. And we thank you for watching it and tune in next time. Thank you.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.